Okay, this has gone on long enough. I have got parts literally, not those, literally everywhere in this garage. Now, I spent the last 2 days cleaning this place up. You can't tell, but trust me, it was bad. You couldn't even walk around the Camaro here. And there's still just trash everywhere. So I've been putting this off for a long time because I wanted to save up and get some nice like pallet racking, some nice shelves that I can adjust on the fly however I want. But pallet racking is very expensive, and it seems like every time I drop a penny into my piggy bank that I set aside for the shelving, it disappears into something else. Not sure how that happens really. So to cut right to the chase, today we're going to be building some shelving in the back corner here. Probably starting at this post and going around probably to about there. So initially I was going to build it 8 feet high, but this shelf is 6 feet high. I think that's plenty tall enough. But I do have a couple requirements for it. One, I want to spend as little money as possible. So it's not going to be this crazy fancy like steel construction shelf that I weld together with the TIG welder and spend 2 weeks making. No, I'm gonna throw it together with some 2x4s and some plywood that's over at my dad's. I'm really hoping to spend less than 200 bucks because I know a pallet racking a little bit wider than that, like that tall but about 5 or 6 feet wide, is about 180 bucks. So if I can keep it less than 200 bucks for all the 2x4s to frame it, then that'll be awesome. And the second item of consideration is it has to be able to support a pretty good amount of weight. So what I'm thinking is, obviously the corners are going to be 2x4s. There's not going to be a base, I mean like no base tray, because I want to set the engines there. Engines are, I mean, depending on what you got, 500 pounds, give or take, 500, 600, 700 pounds, depending on how complete it is, iron heads, etc. But the shelf above that, I want to put the transmissions on, because, I mean, I'm down a few transmissions, but I've still got 4 right here and 1 on the other side of the Firebird. So I want it to be able to support those. Obviously, I know to spread the weight out. We're not going to get dumb with it. And I want to kind of have each car's own designated shelf space. That way it can keep track of the parts for individual cars. So here's my Microsoft Paint version of what the shelf is going to look like. Obviously it's 6 feet tall. This shelf is going to be 3 feet up. That way I can hopefully comfortably fit an engine in there. I didn't think until just now about if I have the engine like on a roller like that. I was thinking just like set it in there with the engine hoist. But I think it'll still be all right. If it's not, we can always pull the intake or pull the carb off or something like that and get it in there. Not a big deal. So this shelf is going to be 36 inches high. And then initially I was going to do this one just in the middle, so that would be 1.5 feet above that one. But I think what I'm going to do is between the top of this shelf and the bottom of that 2x4, I'm going to make that gap 18 inches so that I can comfortably fit a transmission in there. Because the height of the 4L80 that I've got over there on the ground, hopefully this 350 is about the same. Yeah, this one's actually a little less. The 4L80 was 18 inches high from the pan to the top of the bell housing. So this one would fit no problem. Although this one's going in that car, so that doesn't really apply here. And then I want the shelves to come out from this back wall 30 inches, because that's about how deep an engine is, give or take. Let's see, this small block here. Whoops. This small block here, come on. What are you doing? This small block here is 26, and then the LS that I measured over there I think was 28. Let's see, we'll go from here and then just add 1.5 inches. Yeah, so that's 26.5, so it'd be about 27.5. So we're gonna go to 30 just to, you know, be safe. That way, hopefully everything can be tucked in the shelf, and when I'm trying to like go past, I'm not busting my ankles on like crank pulleys or anything like that. Because the transmissions I can turn on an angle, that's no problem. So here's what I'm thinking I'm gonna need for materials. Obviously all the 2x6s are going to be the posts. I'm gonna build it off the post for the pole barn. So that's why I only need 4 of those theoretically, because eventually I want to build a couple shelves up here. That way I can put the engine hoist and the tranny jack, kind of tuck it in here. So we're going to build off of this. I'll have some 2x8s going across to kind of anchor these and act as like the header for, like if you're building a deck, it'll be the header for that, because that's kind of what it's going to be. So the framework will come off that, and then it'll have a leg here, a leg there, a leg in the corner, and then one more leg over there. So I'm hoping that'll work there. If I have to go get a couple more, I'm only like a mile or two from the hardware store. And then, like I said, there's going to be 3 levels. So I'm going to have 2x8 going across here, times 3, times 2, because I'll need the back and the front, and then times that by 3. So that should be 18 8-foot 2x4s. And then from there, all I need is the runners that go from the post out to the leg. Like I said, those are going to be about 30 inches long, and I needed 15 of those. So 15 by 30 was like 37 feet. So I'm just going to get 4 4 10-foot 2x4s for that. So hopefully all of this plus a box of nails is less than 200 bucks. I think it'll be like right around 180. Well, that'll be before tax, so, you know, we'll see. So let's run to the hardware store and pick up some lumber. Alright, here is all of our shelving. Now we just gotta move stuff out of the way and start putting it together. So all that came to $183. And that's with 2 boxes of nails too. I got some 3-inch nails for anchoring things against this, just to make sure that they're in there all the way. And some 2.5-inch nails for putting the 2x4s against each other so it's not poking through. I want to start in this corner, because obviously the Monte Carlo's on jack stands. So let's move some things, and then we'll start getting to work. So let me start with getting all this stuff cleared. There we go, just like that. Now I've got to start organizing. Golly. Come on. I know that these are going to be the vertical posts. There we go. Whoa. There we go. And then these, all these 10-footers are going to be the ones that are going to be 24 3/4. So I've got to get the saw out and start chopping some of these up. Alright, got most of the framing pretty much done. So this is only about 20 inches out from the wall. That'll be enough to store a bunch of the smaller parts. I can put a bunch of camshafts and stuff on this. That'll be plenty. You can see I did change up and move this to the inside just for a little bit more foot traffic room. I think I'm going to go back and change up all these ones too. I don't know. I'm not going to do the next level up. And then there's about half of the plywood that was at my dad's that we're going to jigsaw together to try and save a few bucks. Alright, so we got 2 of the shelves done. I'm actually sitting on the top one right now because I had to put some nails in to keep it from moving around too much. And I'd say it's probably pretty strong enough for a lot of the parts I'm going to put on here. I'm about 200 pounds and I'm sitting right in the middle, like on just the one beam. So I think we're probably pretty good here. Alright, shelves are all done. I think they turned out pretty good. Like as far as shelving goes, this definitely fits the definition of shelf. Now I could call it good here, but I think what I want to do, since a lot of this wood is like spray painted with whole, which is kind of amusing, I think I might run down to the hardware store and grab like a $10 gallon of black paint and roll on it real quick. I think it'll make it look just that little bit better. So I'm gonna go do that real quick. All right, completely done now. So I did end up changing my mind on the black. I went with some, this is actually barn fence paint, and it was like 20 bucks for a gallon. And I knew it would hold up to getting stuff dropped and slammed on it. Also, I didn't want to wait around for them to mix up some black, so this will work just fine, I think. And I still have like well over half a gallon left. So as it is right now, even including all the extra lumber that I didn't end up using, we're right at 200 bucks. So I think that's pretty good. And I got lumber to use on something else in the future. I think if I were smart about it and had decided to do this from the beginning before actually going and getting the wood, it probably would have been around 180 or so. Maybe a little less, actually, like 165, 170. So I just finished painting this, so I can't really put anything on it just yet. But in like an hour or so, actually I might come back and do another coat of white on this because you can still see some of the like staining. This is all just one coat. Or I might just say screw it and leave it because who cares, it's just shelves in a garage. Anyway, once it's dry for sure in like an hour or so, I'm gonna go get breakfast because it's like 2 o'clock and I haven't eaten yet. I'm gonna start moving all the stuff from over there and everywhere else that I don't use regularly and start slamming it on the shelves. And I got a couple engines that I'm gonna tuck under here, get them out of the way. I'd still like to put the transmissions up on the shelf, but you know, we'll kind of play it by ear. But I did make this tall enough to fit a transmission in there. So, like I said, we'll see what happens when we get to that point. And there's still plenty of room to walk around the cars. I'm pretty happy about it. But there we go. There's some pretty decently, I'm not going to say heavy duty shelves, but medium duty shelves. I definitely think they could hold 300 to 400 pounds evenly spaced across each one. So that's probably going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We'll see you next time.